Hi, I'm Colin from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of the Chausson Titanium VIP 788. So as we start the walk round on the driver's side of the vehicle, first you'll notice you've got your two fridge vents, you've got an awning light, and then this customer has added a Fiamma awning, which is an additional extra fitted by us as a dealer. So from the factory they don't come with an awning unless you've asked us to fit one, then you will get an awning. You've got your cassette loo here, so all the external lockers open with this key here, so you just put it in, turn, and then you'll be able to press and release. As long as the blade, which is the grey lever on the bottom bowl of the toilet, is closed, you'll be able to lift the handle and slide it out. You've got a handle there so you can drag it to your waste disposal site, which is normally behind or beside your toilet and shower room block on your site. And then you take your grey lever off, grey cap off, press the orange button and tip out. Once you've tipped it out, there's normally a tap there. If you put some water in, give it a final rinse and tip out again. If you're using the liquid form of chemical, the blue or the green, the cap full straight into here and it's good to go back into the vehicle. If you're using the tablet form, which is a new form, you'd simply put a pint of water into here and drop a tablet in its cellophane sachet into the cassette, and that'll break down into the liquid. And then you can just push it back into the vehicle, it'll clip in and it's good to use. Behind the back driver's wheel you have your waste water point, so this is anything you've put down a plug hole. Simply on the way out of your site, pull over at the motorhome service bay and just pull this handle forward and it will drain off anything that you've drained down a plug hole. So dishes water, shower room water, hand basin water. And obviously in the winter it's very important that you drain all water out of the vehicle, and this would be one of the points that you'd want to make sure was fully drained off. You've got your external gas point, so if you wanted to power a Kadak, an external barbecue, this will run off the main bottle on board instead of carrying a spare. You get a gas spigot, some gas hosing and some Jubilee clips to connect it to the barbecue, and then you can turn it on and off here and that'll control the gas flow to this point. You've got a large garage on the 788, so you've got a light, so should the 12 volt be on, you've got a light. You've got 12 volt mains electric and it's heated by the diesel heater. You'll notice you've got tethering points so you can tie things down. You'll notice you've got your carpets and you've got your silver screens. So these are external silver screens which go around the outside of the windscreen and wing mirrors. And then should you wind the bed up from inside to give a bigger load space in the garage, this wooden board just clips in here, so you can just clip that up like so, and then should it be down in its lowest position, to stop the draft you can put the board in place. We've got access from the back as well, so if we come down to the back of the garage, at the back you've got your high level brake light, rear view camera, and then this bar here is where it's been strengthened to take a bike rack, so the bike rack does have to be higher up on this model and a second bar fitted. But you do have a back boot door for the garage, and then on the back there you'll notice if you ever get parking sensors fitted, you just fit them to here and they give that factory look, so they don't look out of place. LPG, so liquid petroleum gas, so normally these will come with just a gas bottle, so it's a 6 kilogram propane bottle, but this customer has added a gas flow system, so this is not standard on a 788. This is again another accessory being fitted by us. So if you open the door, you've got your refillable gas cylinder which you turn on and off here, so plus and minus, obviously minus to turn off, plus to turn on, and you'll tell you on here how much gas is on board. And to fill, you simply go to your local service petrol forecourt that sell LPG. It's a bayonet fitting, so you push on, turn the front and then fill until simply it won't fill anymore by pressing the button on the filler on the display screen at the pump. And normally these will take about 15 to 20 pounds to fill, and they're full for a good while. But always make sure that you turn the bottle off when travelling, as it's far safer. You've got your vent for your boiler, so this is your water heater and your space heater vent. So you don't need to take any covers off those. External cold water fed shower point, so you'd get the hose that's got a trigger gun on that's supplied with the vehicle and just push it in there, and then as long as the pump's on inside the vehicle, you'll be able to use the cold water feed shower. And this locker is called your Techni box locker. So in here is your freshwater filler. So simply fill via a hose pipe in here, put it in, wait until it overflows or until you're happy you've got enough water on board. And then this little drain here is a travel drain. So if you lift this up, it'll drain all the water down apart from 20 litres. So that is if you want to travel lighter, it'll increase your payload and it'll obviously give you a better consumption on diesel fuel, so you'll get a better MPG. So you'd simply just lift this up, it'll drain out underneath the vehicle. You turn the pump on inside the vehicle and you'd open a tap inside, so the kitchen tap, and it'll squirt all the water out from 100% and leave the last 20 litres in the vehicle. Should you want to drain the last 20 litres out, or you want to drain it fully off without using this, if you go underneath the vehicle, there is a black bung on the end of the blue pipe, which is a 15mm compression fitting. You just pull that off and that'll drain it off in the winter to stop the water from freezing the tanks, or if you've taken on any contaminated water and you want to clean the water system out. To the other side, you've got your all your trips for mains electric and all your fuses for 12 volts, so it will be a good idea to carry some spares so you can replenish the fuse should it blow. And then you've got your mains connectivity point, so always hook the vehicle up first. So you just get the hooker blade, lift the flap on the front, slide it over there, push on, hook the vehicle first, then the sight, as we wouldn't want you walking around with a live lead. And then when unhooking, if you just push the blue little clip down in the left hand corner, that'll release there. Coming to the passenger door, this is where you fill with diesel, so it opens with the main ignition key, and below you've got AdBlue. So with it being a new clean diesel engine, it's got the AdBlue system. This is a 19-litre tank, and on the Fiat it comes up between the fuel gauge and the temperature gauge when it needs it. If you just pull into a forecourt, you can buy it on the pump, or you can buy it in the drums. If you top it up as soon as possible, because if you allow it to go too low, it'll go into limp mode, which is 15 mile an hour max speed, or if it goes too low, the engine won't start and you'll need to get it recovered to Fiat so they can restart it via a computer once topping the system up. Tyre pressures here, so 5.5 bar, which is 79.5 psi. Your engine battery lives underneath the floor on a Fiat Ducato, and your bonnet release is on the side of the dashboard. So if we'll have a look to the left hand side first, so just underneath your driver's side, you've got your screen wash. This lifts off and you've got power steering, radiator coolant and brake fluid. And you've got oil filler and dipstick, paint code for the white, which is 249. An earth for giving a jump start. And if you just put your key in here and lift this cover, you've got your positive there. On the front, so don't go off this weight plate anymore, because this was when it was a chassis cab and they didn't know what they were building on it. Go off this, so it's 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight, so anybody who's passed the test after 1997 can drive this vehicle, as they're now limited to 3.5 ton. Below it tells you the train weight is 3.5 ton as well. So at present the vehicle doesn't have any train weight. This is to stop you getting a tow bar fitted by anybody. You've got to come back to a Chausson dealer to have a tow bar fitted, as a tow bar is ordered through the Chausson factory in France. They will issue you a new certificate of conformity and a new weight plate to state that you have a towing weight and that you aren't running illegal. So if you fit a tow bar at the moment, it voids your warranty and you're not legal, because it's 3.5 ton weight, so you've got no train weight there. So fitting it via a Chausson agent, you'll be legal with a new weight plate and your warranty won't be void. To lock the door, you simply just push this catch back and that locks the Habitation door from the inside. From the outside, obviously using the little key that does all the other lock as a lock it from the outside. And you do have a blind on the window of the door and a fly screen when the door's open. Coming above here, this is your main 12 volt control panel. So it depends if you're hooked up or not. You will have mains. If you're not, you'll just have 12 volts. So if you have mains, you'll get this little green light on here to say you're hooked up and all your 3-pin plugs around the vehicle will work. If not, then it's just 12 volt off the leisure battery. So your on off buttons here. And then you've got your lights, which are all individually switched around the vehicle. Next to the lights, you've got your pump. So should you have sufficient water in the tank, you can turn the pump on, and this will pressurize the water for the external shower, the kitchen tap, the shower and the toilet. And then you've got your awning light, which is the light above the Habitation door. And the buttons down here corresponds with the buttons on the left hand side. So you've got the one that looks like the trailer, which is your leisure battery reading, and your leisure battery lives underneath the passenger seat. And then you've got the truck, which is the Fiat engine battery. Got the wavy lines, which is the water. So this is fresh water. So there you've got just under half a full tank of fresh water. And when this little line goes red, it means that the fresh water is ready to refill. And when this line goes down to this one here, it means your waste is full and it's time to empty the waste. And then what you can do on the last button, it just dims and brightens the control panel. Should it be too bright or too dull for you to see, or should it be too bright for the people sleeping on the drop down bed above on a night, you can dim it down. Coming here, this is your Truma digital control panel for your heating and hot water system. So to turn on, you just press and hold. And then you get into the menu here. So you've got the motorhome and the thermometer. This is how hot you want the vehicle inside. So you've got all the way to off, you've got all the way to 30 degrees. Then you would just press enter to save that thermostat at 30 degrees. Then you've got the water setting. So depending on if you've got water in the boiler, if you haven't, you'd have it on off. If you have, you can have it on eco, which is 40 degrees. Or you can have it on hot, which is 60 degrees if heating your water. So eco for showering, hot for dishes normally. And then you can have it on boost, which will turn off the heating and prioritize the water first. So for this, we'll just say hot. And then again, just click the button, presets that. Now what's source? So you've got fuel, which is diesel fuel. So you must have a quarter of a tank of diesel in the main Fiat chassis tank. Otherwise, this won't work effectively as they're on different levels. You've got mixture of 1 kilowatt of electric and fuel, mixture of 2 kilowatts of electric and fuel. So you'd use this if you were on site and you were in desperate need of heating or hot water. Putting both sources on together will reduce the time it takes to heat the water or the vehicle. Then you've got electric on 1 kilowatt, which you'd use on smaller CL sites, depending on what current they give you through the hookup lead. Or electric on 2, which you can use on most sites throughout the UK, and you wouldn't waste your fuel, you'd just use the electric as you've paid your site fees. But for this, we'll just say mix 2. Then you've got the fans in the top right hand corner, sorry. So you've got eco, or you've got high. So eco will be slightly quieter, so if you want to leave it on low during the night, use eco. And high, you'll hear the fans in the background. Timer in the bottom left hand corner, so you can time it to come on and off just once though. Got a clock for the main display panel, and then should you get a warning triangle, if you go to the spanner setting in the bottom right, go to reset, click here, it'll come up preset, click again, and it'll reset this control panel, and you'll have to manually go in and choose the temperature, the water, the source, the fan, all again for this to set itself back up. And you'll notice you've got 2 light switches here. So one's a thermostat, one does your light switch here, and one does your little blue switches on the floor for night lights. In the kitchen area, you've got 2 gas rings and 1 electric hot plate, which is indicated by here, but you do have to be hooked up for that to work. Once you've had any of these on, if you allow them to cool before you put the cooker hood down. And then you do have an oven and a grill. Storage in here, cutlery drawer, and then you've got two 12-volt USBs, the bed switch for the front drop-down bed, and a mains electric plug. Got some clips there so you can hang things, and a handy holder there for cooking books or spice rack. Pushing this little button here, it'll turn this light on, and then if you just, for all the cupboards, there's a little chrome catch. Just pinch with your hands to release the door to open. Your windows you'd push in and turn, so push the little buttons in, push it all the way out to bring it in, and then you do have a blackout blind, pinch to depart, and you've got a fly screen on all skylights and windows throughout the vehicle. Across from the kitchen you do have your fridge, so to turn it on and off you'd press here, this black button. Then you'll notice it says A, which is automatic energy selection, and there's a picture of a plug, which is hookup. So the brain of the fridge picks what best source we have available at the moment. So if I was to unhook the fridge, it would switch over to gas because the gas is turned on, and then should I start the engine, it'll go to the 12-volt setting, which is designed to keep the temperature of the fridge the same when the engine is running. So it just makes it into a big cool box. So pre-chilling it before you use it at home, a couple of days before, hook it up, night before, put your shopping in, allow that to chill overnight. Or if you're travelling from one site where it's been on for a day or two to the other site, if you leave it on automatic, it'll go on to 12-volt. Or if you want to change it manually, press the square button, hook up, 12-volt, it's failed because the engine's not running, and gas. And then this side you've got your temperature, so you've got 5 bars, which you'd probably want it to be on when pre-chilling the fridge. And then once you put your shopping in, you may want to turn it down ever so slightly to 4 or 3 bars, just to stop the food from freezing. And then when winterizing, if you clean the fridge out, take all remaining items out, clean it out with some anti-bac, and then if you just pull the blue clip in the middle, it stops the door from shutting fully on itself, and it allows air to circulate in and out of the fridge, as you wouldn't want the door to be shut and form an airtight seal, because it'll trap the air in there, and that's when you start to get mould growing in your fridge. Now in the toilet area, so to operate the toilet, make sure the flush is on the main control panel. And you've got a blue button here, so it is cold water fresh flush. So you just push the button there and you'll see it's filled the toilet with water. Always flush first because it lubricates the seal on the blade, keeps it nice and moist and not doesn't crack and get hard, and then you'd have to replace it. So if you always flush first, then this grey lever is the blade, so if you slide that to the right, it opens the blade and allows everything to go into the cassette. Use the toilet with the cassette open, flush after use, and then slide to the left to shut the blade, which locks the cassette out, and you can then get it out from the outside should you need to change it and replenish it with chemical. And you'll notice when you get a light on this side, this diagram looks like a cassette. You get a light on, it means it's time to change your cassette. Handy cupboard there for your toilet rolls. Got one little rocker switch for in here, and one little rocker switch for in the shower, which is across the road from the toilet. Another handy shelf in unit, and some more. Got a hanging rail there for towels, and then if you've got a lock and unlock for this skylight, so if you unlock it and then twist, you'll be able to open for ventilation, and then always lock it before you travel. fly screen, and then blackout blinds. These are really strong because they're on a spring, so be careful with these screens. And then across you've got your magnetic shower doors, which have got a little catch there which locks them when travelling. Same skylight with blackout blind and fly screen and hanging rail. This is more beneficial in the shower because you can hang wet items in here, such as wet coats, towels, and they'll drip dry, and any water will just go down the shower tray than it is in the toilet area. And then when winterizing again and not using the vehicle, if you unscrew the shower head from the hose and leave all the mixer taps open, as you'll notice there, it's got a loop there, any water could freeze in there, and leaving all the mixer taps open allows anything that's in the lines of the pipes to just dribble out and stops any air locking of the system. So remove this and allow this to lie in the shower tray, because the waste would be open from outside, so that would just seep straight through the vehicle. In the back of the vehicle you've got your large island bed with wardrobes on both sides of the vehicle. Shelves in this one, hanging on that one. Storage, and then little light, you just push this button on the left hand side to open. Same skylight as in the washroom and bathroom. And your bed lifts up and you've got access at the back to the garage. The boiler is directly under here, but you shouldn't really need to be into the boiler. This is more for when the vehicle, if a service technician needs to be in the boiler for any reason. But with this being an easy bed system, say you wanted to put bikes inside the vehicle, at the moment you couldn't, because you'll not get a bike in, well, not an adult's bike anyway. Use this handle here, pop it in here, which goes onto this bar. And then you can wind the bed up and down. So it's on a belt system, so if you just wind it up, it gives you more height, room in the garage. And then that's at full capacity there, so you can get larger items in the garage at the back. You'll notice that you've got some red gas taps at the bottom as well. These are gas taps for your cooker and your fridge. Any problems with gas, turn the bottle off just to be safe. And then if you lift this compartment here and then lift these underneath the floor here, this is your drain off for the boiler. So again, in the winter you wouldn't want to leave the 10 litres of water in the boiler, because if it freezes, again, it's not covered under warranty, because frost damage isn't covered and it's your responsibility to drain off. So when the diamond, the blue diamond on the top, is from the front of the cab to the back of the vehicle, and the button in is pushed in down here, it's holding water. If you turn it so it's across the vehicle, the button will pop out, the diamond will pop out, there's a little nib here. That 10 litres of water is draining directly out underneath the chassis. Leave it open in that position throughout the time you've got the vehicle stood up to stop any water from freezing. Open all the mixer taps, obviously make sure the fresh and the waste is open by fresh pulling the waste pulling the lever behind the back wheel, fresh pulling the bung off the pipe underneath the vehicle. Eliminates any water from freezing, as they are just plastic tanks and pipe work on a motorhome. And then what you would do is shut everything, so do it in reverse, shut everything, fill with water, come in, put the pump on, go to the cold side of the tap first, you'll get automatic cold water as it's being pumped out of the fresh tank. Go to the hot side, it'll cough, splutter, spit, do all sorts until you get a pressurized water flow So it takes a couple of minutes to get the water through because it's drawn it from the fresh tank into the boiler, which is underneath the bed, pushing the air out until 10 litres fill the boiler. It will then have a pressurised flow, do one tap, do them all, and then that's you sorted for the season. So as this is a 4-berth, 4-belt vehicle, underneath the lounge is your smart lounge, which is fold-up seats. So if you remove the cushions, if you hold the black lever back, pull the backrest back, you'll notice that your headrest's in front of you, which just clips on like so, and then you'd use the 2 buttons to bring it out. It's got Isofix, so if you are having child's car seats in there, or you're taking your grandchildren away with you, most car seats can fit in there now. You'd use the base cushion and the backrest to form the travelling seat, and you've got that on both sides, and then when you arrive at your site you simply just fold that down and you've got your lounge back. So your table's a manual operating table to drop down, but if you wanted to pull it out, you simply pull the support out and fold the table over, and then you can adjust it from front to back and then turn it into the cab if you need to. But if you wanted to put it down into the coffee table position, press the red lever on the back, on the bottom, push your weight down on it, and wait for it to click in, and there it is down to its lowest position. And then to operate the bed, just behind you is the switch in the kitchen. And you just press the button and the bed will come down, and that's the lowest position the bed comes to. Ladder and nets there which connect to here in the bed frame should you be putting children in here for safety so they don't fall out, and obviously the ladder would just clip onto the front here as well. You have got a light there, and the switch is just on the side of the kitchen cabinet for the light on the ceiling. And the bed is controlled by a key here, so always make sure that the key's turned on for the switch to work. Obviously if you've got children that are playing with the switches, you can turn the key off and that'll stop them bringing the bed down if you're sitting underneath by accident. And then the motor's behind here, so you just lift this cover off, and supplied with the vehicle in the handbook is a winding handle, and you can wind the top of the motor should the beds fail on 12 volt. So now in the cab, so the VIP is based on a Fiat Ducato with a 9-speed automatic gearbox. So to the right of the driver you have your handbrake. As much as it is a automatic, and putting it in park will hold it, still use your handbrake. It's because it's a serviceable item, you want to keep using it to stop it from seasoning up. So if you just use it from time to time. And you have curtains to go around the cab, which are more thermal than the Remus cab blinds, which are fitted as well. So if you pinch and slide along, you've got this on passenger and driver's door, and then they just clip away. And you've got your electric windows and electric mirror adjustments, which are just top and bottom, so 2 adjustments on both mirrors. Headlight adjustment, rear fogs, and this just disengages start stop. Trip computer on the end of the wiper stalk, which goes through your range, your travelling times, your distance, your miles covered and so on. And then you've got your lights and indicators, steering wheel controls, and then on this side you've got off, cruise control at the top, and you'd get your desired speed and push up to accelerate, pull down to slow down. Then should you have to brake, you can turn it off by the brake or on the end of the stalk, and then you can set it away again by the end of the stalk to the last speed that it was set at before the engine was turned off. At the bottom you've got speed limiter, so if you go up slowly it goes up in 1s, push and hold and it goes up in 5s. And then you do have kick down function on this vehicle, so avoid any incidents on the road, it's got kick down, so if you push the accelerator to the floor it will override the speed limiter, and get you out of any potential accidents. 9-speed gearbox, so you've got park, pull down to reverse, which brings on your rear view camera, down to neutral, down to drive, and then across to manual should you wanted to intervene and go up and down the gear. But you do have drive mode there as well, so it comes on in the screen. So you've got eco, normal and power. Power just holds the revs and keeps it in a gear for longer, so you've got that little bit more of a boost of power. Eco doesn't do much, so I would just leave it in normal, and even with normal you've got kick down, so if you put your foot to the floor it'll drop a gear and it'll get itself moving. Traction controllers turns it on and off. Hill descent control, with it being an automatic, it just puts the engine brake on and stops it from getting away with itself. Hazards, and then this locks the cab doors on a evening. You've got to manually lock the Habitation door by pushing the chrome catch in, and obviously using the key, with it being a VIP, doesn't come with central locking on the cab. Heated mirrors, 12 volt for charging and USB for charging. This is the USB for the head unit, and you've got 2 cup holders, glove box, and another heated and cooled glove box by the air conditioning. So you've got your temperature on the outside ring. Must be on at least 1 or more fan speeds for the aircon to work, which is this one here. And then you've got where you want the air to go to, so whether it's your face, your feet, your screen, or both, and whether you're recirculating air within the vehicle or you're bringing fresh air in. And then, as this is fitted with the Connect pack, it's got the Accent, and on the Fiat it is an F270 unit. So you can update these units by going on to Accent, finding F270 updates, downloading the latest software onto a memory stick and putting it into the USB, and then going further along to settings, other, and then you would load software. But you can also see what software it's running, so it's running V2.4, and you will know when it needs to be updated because it goes slow and glitchy, and you'll know it just basically needs an update. But on the screen there you've got navigation here, so this is a map where we are now. If you wanted to set a location to navigate to, we go into the 3 lines in the bottom right, new, route, address, and then in the middle there you just punch in your postcode. You do need to put a space in between the first and the space in the middle between first and the end of the postcode, and then you just press go to town, set as destination, and it'll give you an ETA and how many miles covered in the bottom corner of when you're going to arrive. Or you can just have the map on. You've got radio, which is FM and AM, DAB. Press list, you've got all your stations. You can press preset and you can save up to 6 on FM and DAB. But you do have the shortcuts. You've got home, nav, calm, dabra, dab, alternative, and Bluetooth. Clicking on the Bluetooth, what you do is this is trying to find your phone. You go onto your Bluetooth, go into your settings, and obviously open the Bluetooth on your phone. That'll search for your phone and it'll connect each other, and it'll just say iPhone or Callum's phone, and you would just click pair. And then should you want to use it for Bluetooth audio, there's a little music icon here. Once it's connected, you can just press that. But once you have paired with the device, it'll ask you if you want to sync your contacts. Just press allow and they will sync the contacts into here. And should you want your camera on when driving forward, you can just go to camera, and you can always see out the back of the vehicle as a rear view camera. And then USB and iPod will work when a device is connected into the USB. GPS cards in the top, and then if you pinch and slide along, these are just magnetic, and that's how you'd black the windscreen out. And then should it be cold, you can use the curtains as well for a little bit more of thermal insulation.